KGW News at 5.
Hello and thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Tim Gordon. We begin with dozens of tenants at an Old Town apartment complex feeling stranded after the apartment's only elevator broke a week and a half ago. Thomas Schultz joins us now. And Thomas, what else did tenants tell you today?
Well, Tim, residents say Maybell Center, a 4-story assisted living apartment which houses 50 tenants. And with the building's elevators broken, they've struggled to run errands or see family and friends.
Torture. Just torturous.
For more than a week, Babs Jacobson and some of her neighbors confined to wheelchairs have rarely been able to get outside. Recently, they taped signs to their windows signaling for help.
Feels like I'm in jail, trapped.
Jacobson has an aortic aneurysm. If it ruptured, she could have internal bleeding. And without a working elevator, there's only one evacuation lift to get to her 3rd floor apartment. One chair for around 50 tenants.
The most of us are in walkers, wheelchairs, and electric chairs.
And this isn't the first time the sole elevator has broken. Jacobson says it's been out of commission 4 times in her year and a half here.
I feel like we're being abused.
She and others are worried something bad could happen.
That won't, I mean, if we had a fire, I don't think we could get everybody out.
And it's just hard. There's quite a few people who have a hard time getting up and down.
Diane White has lived at these apartments for 6 years. She has congestive heart failure. A broken elevator has made it difficult for her to exercise and see family.
Kind of sucks.
And while tenants wait for the elevator to be fixed, Jacobson is looking to move out of Old Town to somewhere without persistent issues.
It's very dangerous not to have a working elevator with handicapped people.
Now, the apartment complex says they understand why tenants are frustrated, that they're doing everything they can to make repairs as quickly as possible. They've purchased new parts, applied for grants for a second elevator, and they expect this elevator to be fixed by Monday.
Well, let's hope so. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate it. Well, a fire broke out at the McMenamins Grand Lodge in Forest Grove last night. Several neighbors called 911 just before 6 to report big flames. You see them there. Turns out the fire was in a shop separate from the hotel and restaurant. Crews kept it contained, but had one big concern.
There was a large, probably 1,000-gallon gas tank that was used for an emergency generator. That was probably 5 feet from the building.
Now, thankfully, the fuel tank did not catch fire, and no one in the hotel part of the property was impacted. The shop, which contained some furniture and equipment, well, it was destroyed. A University of Oregon researcher took part in a recent review of research on public policy during the COVID-19 pandemic. It focused on issues like social distancing, vaccinations, and misinformation. In April 2020, a group of researchers published a highly influential paper with 19 recommendations surrounding COVID-19. It was cited thousands of times by governments, researchers, and public figures. The new paper, released this month, evaluated the original research to see if it was accurate and found what they call 16 relevant behavioral concepts.
What we did is we looked at what everybody around the world had studied and had published. And so there were lots of papers on vaccines, on hand washing, on social distancing, on like that whole variety of pandemic related behaviors that you've heard about. They showed up in the papers. And we reviewed all of those papers during that time period to see how accurate we had been in our predictions about what behavioral science would work in getting people to take on those behaviors.
This will now help researchers and policymakers respond to future pandemics and disasters. All right, let's turn to the weather now and a live look at downtown Portland this afternoon as the sun is setting. But it was definitely a lot of sun out there in full force throughout the day. Ashley Grams is here. Ashley, sounds like we've got at least a little more sunshine on the way this weekend.
Happy Saturday, Tim. Yeah, we are halfway through such a gorgeous weekend here in Oregon and Southwest Washington. Some of our highs today, 51 degrees in Portland, 50 in Vancouver, 47 in Kelso, and very warm out there on the coast as well, 47 in Tillamook. And I want to draw your eye down here to the southern part of the state, 72 degrees in Brookings. It looks like we're looking at spring temperatures here, but we are halfway through December. Mild weather going to continue continue here into Sunday. Right now, 46 degrees in the Rose City, just a few clouds made for such a gorgeous sunset. I hope you got a chance to step out there and see it. Amazing. Dry conditions again continuing through tomorrow, but then we start to see a change tomorrow night into Monday. Gonna see some rain and possibly a little bit of high mountain snow. We'll get to more of that and maybe some travel impacts coming up.
All right, we could use that. Thanks a lot, Ashley. Well, a major funding boost brings Washington and Oregon one step closer to funding a new interstate bridge. The enormous project is getting a $600 million federal grant. Catherine Cook talked with lawmakers and drivers about what's next.
Rush hour on the Interstate Bridge. Let's be honest.
This is just getting worse.
And there are so many rush hours to choose from. AM, PM, even weekend fun hours too. Take it from Britt Hamilton.
You're not going to get through, but you know, we're used to it. I've been here 13 years, so.
Funny thing about 13 years ago, that's when the last effort to replace the bridge was in full swing. Remember the Columbia River crossing? Trish McCann does.
They've been talking about it for years, and I really thought it was going to happen about 15, 16 years ago, but
it didn't. The CRC, as they called it, failed after spending $175 million. The biggest reason? Washington didn't approve $450 million in funding, largely based on objections to including light rail. But this is a new day and a new project acronym, IBR. It stands for the Interstate Bridge Replacement. On Friday, the effort got a major boost. The Department of Transportation awarded Washington State a $600 million grant for the new bridge.
Oh my gosh, so excited for our region, for our state.
Washington Senator Maria Cantwell is thrilled. She notes this is the first sizable federal investment in the Interstate Bridge Replacement project and something the CRC never came close to getting.
This is like a validation that the federal government is serious about being a partner with Oregon and Washington and getting this done.
As impressive as the grant looks on paper, it's just a drop in the bridge's budget bucket. The whole project is expected to cost somewhere between $5 and $7 billion. The project team plans to split the bill between Washington and Oregon. Each state has already put in about $200 million combined and pledged another $1 billion each. Also, tolling from drivers should bring in around $1.2 billion. That leaves about $2.5 billion that'll need to come from federal sources.
What we need to do now is get the planning and construction efforts underway. And my sense is that more federal dollars will flow under those applications that the city of Vancouver and others have applied for.
Cantwell says if all goes to plan, construction on the new interstate bridge should begin in 2026 and be done in about 5 to 7 years. In the meantime,
you've got to pick the right time to use the bridge.
It is what it is.
We love Portland, Vancouver, it's all good.
In North Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
In Washington, 2 teens associated with the so-called Kia Boys social media challenge have been arrested. They're accused of stealing a Kia and using the car to rob 5 stores across the Seattle area in one night. 18-year-old Ardell Davis and Ralphie Manuma now face several charges. The King County prosecuting attorney says this is part of a larger problem, however. An investigation last month from our sister station in Seattle, King 5 News, found a drastic increase in stolen Kias and Hyundais.
Even if they keep happening, we'll keep going to court. Prosecutors are seeing more and more Kias and Hyundais stolen, and we're responding in this exact same way.
Meantime, the city of Seattle is suing Kia and Hyundai for failing to install anti-theft devices. A spokesperson for Kia says all vehicles, including the ones involved in these issues, meet or exceed federal standards and mandates.